Hello, this is Rob Day with That's My Entertainment. I'm here with Rob McKittrick, the writer of Tag, and
Best of luck with this one.
oh, I'm gonna have
Give it a try.
Jim Kehoe.
Nailed it.
Nailed it from Blocker. So, hello, gentlemen. How are you doing this evening?
Doing well. Had a couple of drinks.
Doing terrific. The last interviewer put an N in my name for some reason, so we're already ahead. We're already ahead. Rob Day, you're killing it.
Awesome. Thank you very much. So, just wanted to ask you guys. So both of you guys have written comedy, very unique scripts. So, concept going from head to paper. What would your process? Do you guys come up with a draft first, a concept, or do you write for a particular actor? What? Let's start with Jim.
Let's start with a proven entity.
The one who's looking away here.
Yeah, exactly.
The brother.
That's the brother,
He's
Brian
the
Kehoe.
silent. He's the silent. He's the one who comes. It was his idea for the butt chugging scene, but he doesn't. But he's the quiet one.
Okay.
That is not true.
Okay.
The idea, yes, it's an idea that came from our real life. Most of the stuff that we write comes from our real life, and we just had the idea. And we just started writing the script, and we wrote it as a spec, which means that we're not paid to write it. We write it because we love it, and yes, we were able to sell it and get it set up, and fortunately get it made, and came out in April and did pretty well. So, yeah, that's the process. We didn't write for particular actors, or we didn't even write an outline for it. We just wrote it.
Really?
No, we wrote
Oh,
it.
wow.
We wrote the script really quickly. We wrote it in about 2 months, which is very fast for us.
Wow.
And then sold it 2 weeks after we finished writing it. So
That's an incredible story. Rob,
Yeah.
Tag, tell me about.
Mine was a little bit different. So it's based on a true story. So there was actually there was a Wall Street Journal article that was written about these group of guys from Washington who they're all in their middle aged, but when they were kids they played tag, and then they all of course go off to graduate and they go off to college, and they were back for a reunion, and they were just like, hey, we should start playing tag again. And they drafted up a contract, and by this point they live at different parts of the country, and so they basically made this contract. They play for 1 month out of the year. It's simple rules: tag, you're it, no touchbacks. So if I tag you, you can't turn around and tag me right back.
Right.
And if you're it at the end of the month, they make
it's called no backsies.
no backsies. Well, I mean, I can tell you it is actually called no touchbacks. But I mean, like, you know what I mean? Like, it's I mean, I don't want to get into a dick throwing contest about this, but it really is called no touchbacks. You know what I mean? Maybe East Coast, he's a New York guy or whatever. Maybe that's what it is. Maybe it's no backsies. Yeah. But anyway, and if you're at the end of the month, they make fun of you for the rest of the year. And so that was like and that's all true. Like, that's the real story. And so then New Line, I've worked with New Line a bunch of times. I've been on the precipice of getting a movie made several times, only to have it fall apart in a crumbling display of despair and sadness. Yeah, multiple times. And then, but they were fans of my work, and they said, hey, why don't you check out this article and check out this, and watch this little ESPN did a little video about it. And I fell in love with it. I thought it was hysterical. They wanted to. They'd already had a draft of the script, and they wanted to sort of move in go a little bit of more of an R-rated tone, which is something that I've done before. And so they hired me to sort of do a page one rewrite on it, and kind of sunk my teeth into it, and then got it made, And then Ed Helms, I think, was the first person to become attached. Okay. And then shortly after that, Jeremy Renner, and then of course everybody else. And now it comes out in this weekend.
That's really exciting. Oh, yeah. So in Jim's case, it was based on real life.
Yeah, not exciting at all.
Okay.
But his very exciting.
Well,
his is very exciting because here's what we can say: tag right now is an unknown. We have no idea. Tomorrow, like this weekend, it could open up at $4 million, $3 million, $150,000. We don't know what its opening weekend numbers are going to be.
Or $30 million. You don't know that.
No, we know that. The one thing we can say is it's not going to do $30 million. Goddamn you. But what we can say about what? Okay, it'll be at least $52, according to Brian.
We have our tickets.
According to Brian Buttchug Kehoe. But anyway.
Oh, Brian, you joined the conversation.
I'm good.
Okay.
Yeah, he's a silent partner. But anyway, no. But yeah, I'm obviously I'm joking about it, but I'm filled with nothing but just anxiety over how it's going to do.
It's going to do very well.
I hope it does. Listen, no BS. If it does as well as blockers, hopefully, obviously, $1 or $2 more, $5 more would be perfect, just so I can hold it over them. But if I do blockers numbers, if at the end of this, the road, if it ends up doing what blockers does, I will be absolutely thrilled. I think it's blockers is awesome. It's a hilarious comedy, and it killed.
So,
I'll take it.
but in both cases, I'd say, I guess, with blockers and tag, you would take something that's a reality. In his case, in Jim's case, it was real life. In your case, it was an article.
Sure.
Then you go to heighten that reality for comedic purposes.
Right.
So, what was that process like? Just coming up with all those different ideas. So again, we'll start with Jim.
Well, ours was the idea came from my brother Brian has a daughter, and she was 3 months old at the time when we came up with the idea. And the idea was he's a very overprotective dad. So we were projecting into the future, and I was saying, I can't wait until your daughter's in high school and dating. I just love the anxiety and frustration and all those things that you're going to be going through. And that's where the idea came from. So we were sort of projecting the reality into the future. It wasn't actually happening at the time. So it was easy to imagine him as a psychopathic, John Cena type, who's in our movie, being that dad who's overprotective and going after. So that's where it came from, and yeah, making it big and making it fun is that's the job. So it wasn't hard to imagine dads doing that, going out on that journey, parents doing that to stop their daughters on prom night, and it was just a lot of fun to put together.
Awesome, and then Rob, for you.
Yeah, for me the biggest challenge, certainly trying to come up with interesting tags that were inspired by the real tags, but trying to make it a little bit bigger, a little bit more cinematic. Like that was its sort of own challenge. But I would say maybe the biggest challenge was just having the movie sustain, because when you read the article or you watch the little ESPN video, you immediately get, wow, this is so funny. These guys, they're in a state of arrested development. They've been playing tag their whole life. That's hilarious. But it's only a 5-minute ESPN video, right? And you see the heart of it because it's given these guys a reason to stay in each other's lives their whole life. So you understand that. But when it came to writing it, the hard part was, how do I make that sustain for an entire movie? Because you can only watch guys tag each other so much before you're like, all right, I get it. They're tagging each other, right?
Yeah.
So, I feel like we were successful, but yeah. So that was the bigger thing, is like having you care about the characters and having you care about the ride and the journey. That to me was like actually the bigger challenge than trying to come up with the fun set piece. The fun set pieces actually. I mean, it was a very difficult script for me to write, mostly, again, for the reason that I said, which is just trying to being able to sustain it. That was the bigger challenge. But the actual comedic set pieces themselves, like the escalation and all of that came fairly simple relative to the rest of the script.
That was a very difficult script to crack. I mean, Rob came to me when he first was hired to do this and was like, how am I going to make this a movie? And I said, I have absolutely no idea.
I remember that.
And I was like, I would pass on that one. It was a really, really difficult one. So he deserves a lot of credit for coming up with a story that is riveting and entertaining and draws the audience in. It's a very, very difficult thing sometimes to take a true story article like that and make it a narrative movie that people want to go and see. So he did a really good job.
I do think it's worth noting that he's saying all of this, but he hasn't actually seen the movie, so there's a little bit of bullshit on what he's saying.
I've also had 3 drinks.
Okay, good.
So
So
I'm sure it's fantastic.
he's right, but he doesn't know that he's right, is my point. So just take what he said with a grain of salt. It's very sweet. I thought it was very complimentary, and he accidentally got it right. But the truth of the matter is, he doesn't know what the fuck he's talking about because he hasn't seen the movie.
When I get it right, it's usually accidental.
Okay, so if you have any advice to any up-and-coming writers that are on the ground that maybe walking on that contract, knocking on doors, put in there, what maybe give your guys selves advice 10, 15 years ago?
Right. It's very easy. Go to med school.
That was the advice? That's the advice?
My advice. Go to med school.
Don't do it?
Don't do it.
Stay out of it.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, okay. Well, I didn't know that was an option. If I could just say don't, then yeah, that's an easy one. Get out in front of there. But no, the advice I always give, and it's so simple that it borders on condescending, so it's kind of weird for me to say, is like
be awesome at writing.
Yeah, no, move out to LA and then write a good script. And because that's kind of it. It's like, you do need to, obviously you have to meet someone who knows somebody or meet someone who's willing to read your script. But if you move out to LA just by natural course of meeting people, that's going to happen. You're going to find people who want to read your script. Everyone's looking for that next great piece of undiscovered, material. So then it just comes down to write the really good script, like that. And that's but unfortunately that's the really hard part, because it's
the better answer.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely. I didn't realize that was an option, but yeah. But I wouldn't go to med school. That sounds like a lot of work. It's a lot
sounds
easier.
like a lot of
Law
work.
school's fine.
Seems like a lot.
Law school?
Yeah.
No,
That's what he did. This guy, he's a lawyer, by the way.
I have friends in law school, so
Yeah.
I got stories about them too. But anyway, guys, Jim, Rob, thank you so much for your time.
Hey, man, I
I
appreciate
really
it.
appreciate it.
Hey,
Thank you so much.
Take care. Thank you.